But isn't there a kind of pain that you can experience in life that's even worse than physical pain? I mean, what about the emotional pain you can go through in life that so many of us have gone through in our past? The psychological pain. It's maybe the spiritual pain, maybe the marital pain you've been through, maybe the financial pain. Is there anybody here today that when you think about the pain of your past, you're so excited to experience more pain in your future? Well, no, there's probably not any of us. I mean, all of us want to avoid pain. But what I want us to begin to see throughout this series is this. Avoiding pain is natural. It's so natural. It's just not always beneficial. Now, we know it's natural because even Jesus, when he was going to approach the cross, the greatest pain this world has ever known, he's going to hang on a cross, crucifixion, the worst pain you could ever experience. Even as he approached the cross, listen to the prayer Jesus prayed to his Father. Matthew 26:39, Jesus says this, "My Father, if it's possible, please may this cup of suffering, of pain, may be taken from me." That's Jesus himself. I mean, even Jesus asked, hey, can I avoid this pain? We know avoiding pain is natural, but it's not always beneficial because think about the example of Jesus. Jesus' greatest pain became our greatest blessing in our life. Or we could say it this way, what we talked about last week at Easter, receiving the peace that God can give you. Think about it this way. Our greatest peace is only possible through Jesus' greatest pain. Through Jesus' greatest pain, that's the way we actually can experience peace. So that gives us a clue, that's just one example that gives us a clue that God can use pain for his great purposes. I would refer to it this way. It's called the potential of pain. There's potential, and I use the word potential very strategically because we have a choice in how we're gonna see pain. And sure, it's natural to look at pain and say, I don't want that. I don't want pain. But here's what I know all of us could do. If I invited you on stage right now, and I gave you the microphone and I said, tell me in your life, one of the greatest seasons of growth that you've ever had where God began to do something amazing, just transformative in your life. Here's what almost all of us would tell. We tell about a season on the other side of pain that we realized we grew like never before. We may not like that sometimes our greatest growth comes through pain. We may not like it, but we also can't deny it. And so what I want to do throughout this series is I want to do this. I want us to learn to reframe our pain, to begin to view our pain through a different lens, to see it through a lens that pain isn't always bad, but it can actually be good medicine. Your growth will be dictated by your ability to push through pain. My growth, your growth, will always be dictated by our ability to push through pain. I want to show you that and how that's true by looking at a passage of scripture that I think makes it crystal clear. If you have a Bible, I want to invite you to turn to the book of James. James is one of my favorite books in the entire Bible. It's written by a man named James who, you get this, was actually Jesus' brother. Did you know Jesus had a brother? He did, and he's a man named James, and he wrote this book in the Bible. It is one of the most powerful books, I think, in the New Testament. But if anybody had a tough life, if anybody went through pain in life, it was James. He did. A simple example, think about this. Could you imagine growing up being Jesus' brother? Could you imagine that? You come home from school, hey, mom and dad, guess what? I got an A on my test. Oh, that's awesome. Jesus, how was your day? I don't know, I'm gonna save the whole entire world. How you like that, James? How you like me now? I don't think Jesus did that at all, by the way, but could you just imagine being Jesus' brother? How would you ever feel like you ever stack up throughout life? But we know James had a painful life because at the end of his life, he actually died as a martyr for his faith. He died for his faith around the year 62 AD. But in the book of James, James begins to show us how we should reframe and look at our pain. Read along with me, James chapter 1, starting in verse 2. This is the very beginning of his book. Watch what he says. Dear brothers and sisters, when pain of any kind come your way, consider it terrible. Consider it terrible, run from it, and go take a vacation, get on a beach somewhere because that's bad. No, what does James tell us? When you face troubles of any kind, I love that you use those words, consider it what? An opportunity for great joy. What? When I face trouble, when I face pain in my life, I should start to look at it as an opportunity for great joy. Now listen to what James is saying because I want to make something clear. He's not saying, look at your pain, take your pain and go, oh, that's great joy. He's saying, look at it as an opportunity of what God can do through your pain. What maybe could happen through your pain. That's what James is saying. So we might ask, how could God use our pain for his potential? How could that even happen? And James goes on and says this, for you know, we all know this from our past. If we just would get honest, we know that when your faith is tested, when you go through these really tough time periods, your endurance has a chance to grow. You know that during these seasons, on the other side of it, even during it, there's a chance you can grow through it. There's potential. That's what James is telling us. So he goes on to say this. So, verse 4, so let it grow. If you're in a season of pain, utilize it and let there be growth through it. This word let actually means to own. You gotta own it, let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, watch this. When you get on the other side of a season of pain, you know this. When it's fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. I love that because that's what we want. That's what we want. Let me show you what these two words mean. The word perfect actually means to be mature. That's what I want. That's what you want. In every area of your life, we want to mature and grow. And then watch what the word complete means. I love this. Having all necessary qualities. How about that? Hey, I can be mature and I can have all the necessary qualities I need in whatever area of life it is. But it happens through this testing. It happens through periods where God can take our pain. He didn't cause it, he didn't always cause it, but he can use it for his great purposes in our life. So I want to make a bold statement. This is bold. Number 2, pain always has a purpose. How can I make a bold statement like that? How can I be so definitive in that statement? Because I'm not the one who's saying it, God is. Listen to what God tells us in Romans 8:28. And we're going to talk about this more in week 3 of the series, but God says this in Romans 8:28. And we know, same language James used, that in all things, in every single thing in your life, that includes the pain, even what you're going through right now, God works for the what? For the good of those who love him, who've been called according to his purpose. Through your pain, there's always a purpose if you'll begin to reframe how you look at it and allow God to use you. And that's a big if, because that's up to you. That's up to you to allow it. So here's point number 3. You have 2 choices with pain, always. Number 1 is you can allow it to be a springboard to make you better. Or, watch this, you can allow your pain to become an anchor in your life that always makes you better. You ever been around someone in your life that is bitter? What you'll oftentimes find when you find a bitter person, almost always, is there's an anchor that they're carrying with them from the pain of their past. And they like to show that anchor. And this is why, look what happened to me, and there's a lot they just show you their anchor. But isn't it true that you can also find people, so many people, that they would say who they are today, the better person they are today, is because of pain, that they cut their anchor and they use it as a springboard to make them better. We have a choice, and you have to choose.